and she has a couple kids that go to Coolidge High School. This interview is confidential and it won't be shared with anyone aside from my instructor. So how long have your children been in the Coolidge Unified School District?
2 years.
2 years. And you have two children?
I have two girls, 16 and 14.
16 and 14, so junior and freshman.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In the last 2 years, being that you've been there for 2 years, have you noticed any change in communication between the school and coming home?
It's gotten better because now they send out the emails.
Okay.
With the phone calls, and I can't always answer my phone calls,
okay.
But I can look at my emails, which is nice.
Okay. So now, I'm assuming 2 years ago, there was only phone calls that were going home.
Letters.
Just letters. Okay. So, and now we're up to phone calls and email contact. Do you find this to be a better thing for communication?
I do.
Okay.
Papers get lost.
Yeah. I would have to agree with you on that. Papers get lost.
Papers get lost.
Were you aware that actually 2 years ago we hired someone to be the family communication specialist for Coolidge High School?
No, what's that?
So her job, and not to make any sort of bad comments towards what she does, but being that her job was kind of, we needed one, and so they threw her into the position, and so she's been creating this position as she goes along. She keeps contact with, she does all the social medias, the Facebook, she's got Twitter, and she's got Coolidge High School on Instagram, so she's got them on all those. And then she's in charge of the marquee, in charge of announcements and things like that. But she's the one that sends the emails that you get now. She's the one that makes sure that the phone calls make it home to all the parents, and that all the parents are in the system correctly. She also does contact with each freshman. They've started a freshman class, and she contacts each freshman class now to make sure that they have Power School on their iPads and make sure that they're up with their grade systems. And actually, it was like 2 weeks ago, I think. 2 or 3 weeks ago, Power School crashed pretty bad. A lot of the kids lost their information, so she hunted down and got in contact with Power School because they didn't know, and it was working on the teacher end and the admin end and for attendance and all that, but it wasn't working on as far as like a parent portal. That part wasn't working, and so she was the one that ended up getting in contact with Power School itself to get it fixed, to figure out what was going on. So she has increased communication. It has supposed to been increasing communication. So my question for you is, being that papers get lost, you said that before, how would you expect from high school for parents to find out information?
The school website would be nice, but your guys' school website is not very user friendly.
Okay.
Because I do check that.
Okay.
Not as probably often as I should, but as far as like when breaks are going on, because my girls travel on their breaks.
Right.
So that's okay, but there's nothing that pops out right away that says, hey, this is this and this is what's going on, or
okay.
Anything like that. As far as communication with the school or with the teachers at Coolidge High School, again, very
limited.
Very limited, and it's really hard to try to get an email to a teacher. Okay. So that's kind of rough, because I've tried to do that before as well. Right. And unfortunately, I've had to go to Facebook, and I don't think that's really
a viable way that teachers want to be contacted.
I don't want to contact you through Facebook, and I definitely don't want you contacting me through Facebook. I think that's more of, I use Facebook as far as family, because I'm not from Arizona. That's my family. That's my friends. Right. This is more of a working relationship between me and the school, because we're both working on having not just my kids, but all the kids that go there. That's educational wise. Not that I don't mind. And it was actually, when I contacted the teacher, it's a page that's actually for an extracurricular activity, so it wasn't to that person directly, but I still didn't like it, that I had to go through Facebook.
Okay, that makes sense, yeah. So you've received the auto dialers.
Yes.
And what have you received the auto dialers in regards to? Is it just mainly attendance, or has it been other things?
No, attendance, fall break,
Okay.
what else? When there's testing,
Okay.
like something that's really, whenever there's been an important testing, but usually it's just reminders of those, or early outs.
Okay.
When kids were going to be leaving school early.
Okay.
That's probably one of the most recent ones.
Okay.
So, and then we get phone calls for, you can sign up for like free lunch, or don't forget that, kids can have breakfast at school, and
Okay.
those kind of things.
Okay. Being that CUSD has gone 1-to-1 with the iPads, do you think, I feel like you've hit this, but do you think communication should be more electronic? And it should be easier to be able to get in contact with those teachers?
It should be.
Okay.
Definitely it should be. And sometimes it's hard because I don't want to contact you neither through their iPad, because I'm the adult and my child is the child.
Right.
And there's some things that I want they shouldn't know all of my conversation, because I'm going to have my conversation with my child, and then me and you are going to have a more adult conversation. So yeah, I would say we definitely need a better way to communicate with you guys, and not wait until there's an issue and then you send me home your email.
Okay.
Or vice versa.
How do you think a solution would be? Do you think that there would be a solution to that, besides sending home a paper copy of your email?
Like I said, putting it on the website. When my girls were, and not to compare apples to oranges.
No, you're fine. Yeah.
But you go on a TUSD website, I can go to whatever school they're going to.
Okay.
It's sometimes still a little bit hard to navigate, but it's a lot easier for me to communicate with the teacher and get their contact information through the school. And maybe these schools have, these schools have obviously been doing it longer.
Right.
And they have a grasp of what's going on. But some of those, like on the very first page, cut it down kind of like a newspaper, and like, hey, this is going on. Like, when, not senior day, what was it where you guys had the barbecue and everything?
The homecoming night?
Homecoming. Mm-hmm. I mean, you see the signs on the street, but sometimes I don't even get a chance to see those, because when I leave for work, I'm headed to Phoenix.
To Phoenix, okay.
I'm not even going through town.
Okay.
My girls sometimes will say something to me, but if they're not totally interested in it,
you're not going to hear about it.
I'm not going to hear about it.
Okay.
And that's fine too.
Right, but
we like to do, me and my other half, we like to go and do things in the town too.
Right.
I'll be honest, when I first moved here, I was like, very small town, very, oh my gosh. But as we have tried to do things in the community, honestly, I've been impressed. Yeah, I have been impressed. It's a nice hometown feeling. Yeah, a lot of people know, everybody, and that's it's cool. But then again, it's not. It could be not so cool sometimes.
As an outsider looking in, it's hard to get to that in spot.
Exactly. Yeah. But even still, I mean, that's okay, because I don't need to know everybody. I don't want to know everybody. I don't want you to know my business. I don't necessarily want to know yours. But it's nice to be out and be like, hey, how you doing? Right. Those kind of things. So that's how I would say that board would be nice, because the school does incorporate what the community does with the school. With the school, yeah. And that would be another nice way to find out things. So I would want to go to the site more, as opposed to what a pain in the butt.
Okay. One more question I do have for you. We did start newsletters. Have you ever gotten a newsletter?
No.
Okay. I'm just curious, because we get an email saying, hey, what is your department doing to put in the newsletter? And then they send us the newsletter to say, hey, this is what we sent out. But I've never heard of or seen, I didn't know how they were being communicated. So you've never seen one. All right, good to know.
No.
So do you think, just as, I mean, obviously your input is from, almost from like an outsider, not Coolidge family itself, born and raised here. Do you think that would help even the people that are born and raised here knowing how to get their information? Or does that make sense?
Yes, I think it would, because I think with the way that technology is always evolving and kids have all these devices now that they are constantly on constantly, it would probably be easier to be like, oh, hey, here's this.
Yeah.
I got this from school. Even if it goes to their iPads, I know that my girls would show me.
Right.
You know, and say, hey, here you go. But
okay, that makes sense.
Because, like I said, I myself personally, I don't usually go through town that much because how my work life is. So for me to see that kind of stuff where people who are always in the community are living here, they're in town, they could have more of an opportunity. But even still, it would be nice to know how some of those things go together, like the horticulture class. That would have been cool. Like, I found out from another kid that my youngest daughter was hanging out with, that they're doing like this what do they?
They're doing the agriculture and the nursery class and stuff like that. Yeah.
But they go and they show their animals, and it
oh
wasn't,
yeah, at the fair.
Yeah, and it wasn't that far, but I would have never known.
Thank you.
I wouldn't have known unless I didn't hear it
From somebody else.
Right, and I don't. Those things that helps boost it. To me, it would help the kids, and I try because I do work a lot, so I'm not probably the best. But those kind of things.
Yeah.
That it incorporates with the school, and that gets the parents more involved in what's going on, and at least we have the opportunity
to show up.
Yeah, even if we can't go,
right?
You're giving us the opportunity to say, okay, here we go.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I think that, but the newsletter, that would be awesome.
Right.
If we got an email.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll find that out for you. Okay. That's all I have. So thank you very much.
No problem.